Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be explaining to you my whole routine for getting a flawless tan. So first of all, just a disclaimer, I'm by no means a tanning professional, but I have been doing it for a year and a half and I've learned a whole lot of tricks to help me get a flawless tan. That means not ending up with orange hands or orange elbows or whatever else can go wrong, which is plenty. So first I want to talk about the before care, everything that you have to do before you tan before I get into the products. So first up, you want to make sure that you are shower, shaving, and exfoliating. All of those things are very important to make sure that you prolong your tan, to make sure that it goes on evenly. I just said prolong, but make it last longer. It's also going to make sure that as it fades, it's going to fade more evenly. And you're not going to end up with any like patchy areas fading faster than other areas. So what I like to use to do that is, now this is like so simple now, I love using the Loving Tan polishing. I think this is called the polishing mitt. Polishing mitt? It looks like a boxing glove. So the pink side is a little bit more finely milled and then the black side is a little more rough. So this technically I believe is used to, or supposed to be used to remove your tan, which that's what I use it for. I use the black side for that. But before I actually apply my tan, I like to exfoliate my skin with the pink side because it is a little bit more finely milled. It's more gentle on your skin. It's just removing like that first layer so that you make sure that your skin is nice and fresh and new, you know? This is the only thing that works for me now. It's also the only thing that will possibly remove my tan. I've used plenty of exfoliators, scrubs, all kinds of things. This is literally the only thing that I use now. I use it all the time. Highly recommend this. The best. Now this is just something that I wanted to mention. This is something that I use maybe a day or two before I actually tan. This is the Dermalogica Daily Microfoliant. I do like to tan my skin. Some people don't. You don't have to if you don't want to. I do like to do it. So I like to make sure that my skin is in like peak condition before I actually do tan my skin because I want it to last longer, you know, so I don't want to be like exfoliating it when I have tanner on. So this is something that I will use. This will be something to open up the skin, really get in there, clean it out. And then I'll do like extractions and use tea tree oil and masks and hydration like crazy. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to mention that really quickly because this is what I do for my face. It's like the Loving Tan mitt for my face. All right, so once I get out of the shower after I have shaved and everything, some people say to exfoliate and shave the day before. I don't like to do that. I will do the like rough exfoliating maybe a day or two before, but the day of I will use the pink side of this just to make sure. And I also shave my legs. Now you want to make sure that the driest areas of your body are going to be super hydrated because the drier your skin is, the more it absorbs the product and you do not want to end up with orange hands. Actually, a couple of videos ago, my hands were so orange and I can't believe no one said anything. Go check that out. It's really bad. So I definitely still make mistakes all the time, but I have figured out some tricks to prevent that because that was my biggest problem when I started. So I believe like tanning salons and stuff call it barrier cream. I don't know. I mix two products. So this is the Eucerin Q10 anti-wrinkle cream. You guys have heard me talk about this. This literally, I use this for just absolutely everything. I use it as my like nighttime anti-wrinkle cream. Use it, well, I guess that's it. But I use it for a lot of stuff and this. And then I also use rosehip oil, which might seem like really random, but I'm gonna explain. So this is very, very heavy duty, extremely moisturizing, super hydrating, like really thick. I was using this by itself. This is a face cream, but it's like kind of a big container and it's pretty cheap. So I use it for this. And this is what I place like all over my hands, on my elbows, my knees, my ankles, my feet, just the areas that like tend to absorb more product because I am prone to like super orange, all of those areas. But I found that it just wasn't working well enough on its own. So I decided one day I was just gonna mix a couple drops of this rosehip oil. I think I used jojoba oil before. Any like beauty oil basically. Just mixed a couple drops, just a couple drops per like teaspoon probably, 1 or 2 drops, and it just worked so well. It added a little bit more of a barrier, but the lotion itself helped cut the oil enough so that it wasn't just like sitting on the skin, it actually absorbed well. Because if you just go in with oil, it might take a while for your skin to absorb it and then it's going to make the tanner go over it all streaky. This is kind of the reason that I wanted to make this video. Is this is my like little foolproof cocktail that I came up with and it's been working for me so perfectly ever since. So I'll actually show you the amount just so you can see. So it is a nice thick cream. So I'm just gonna take a little bit out. So this amount would probably be for like my knees. I use kind of a lot around my feet and my hands because, you know, it's got a dropper. So I'll probably do like that much, like that much rosehip oil with that much. That might be a little bit too much, kind of came out fast. But it's just basically a drop, and then I'll kind of like work them between my fingers, mix it up. Oh, I've got black on my finger, ignore that. It's from my liner. And then I will place this like all over, you know, around my elbows. I'll just do it because we're here, you know, why not? So I'll kind of like do this area. So just like surrounding area of my elbows. And then all over my hands. And when I do my hands, I like to bring it like way down here and way down here, just in case. So that's probably the most important thing to know, because if those areas are way too dry, then they're just gonna look insane. Now, another thing that I do is I don't take the product over my elbows or over any of the actual dry spots because they tend to be a little bit darker on me anyway. This is really going to depend on the person. I know people who just like go in over their elbows and they don't even get orange at all. So it's gonna kind of depend on you. But what I like to do, am I jumping the gun? Hold on, let me talk about the product first. So the tanner that I use is Loving Tan. Again, that's how I tried the Mitt. Absolutely, hands down, the best tanner of all time. I have the 2 Hour Express and in dark and the regular Deluxe bronzing mousse in dark. To me, they're pretty much the same thing. I don't like leaving it on for only 2 hours because I feel like it doesn't get me dark enough. So I sleep in mine and I use them interchangeably. So like, don't think that if you use the 2 Hour Express, you're gonna wake up like an oompa loompa unless you're like so pale. And I'm pretty damn fair. So this is my absolute favorite, 100%. I've tried Saint-Tropez, I had an allergic reaction to it. I've tried Tarte, I don't remember what theirs is called, but it just doesn't give me the results that I want. Like, it just doesn't make me dark enough. So nothing compares to Loving Tan. It's so easy, it blends beautifully, and it dries quickly, but it doesn't dry too quick. Like, you can literally just slap it on and you're not gonna get streaking. I've never ever once have I had a streaky application ever, even when I'm rushing. Like, I'm more prone to getting like orange spots than get streaking. Streaking does not happen. It always looks flawless. So I can't possibly recommend. And the people at Loving Tan are some of the best, like, they're just the best people ever. Shout out to Beck. She's like the coolest, the best. Love her so much. All right, so back to how I apply it in the tricky areas. So I don't go over those areas. I like to kind of buff around them. Now for the rest of my body, I like to use a tanning mitt. This looks disgusting, it's so dirty. This is actually Tarte's. I guess they're sort of interchangeable. I think I like Tarte's better though. This is what it looked like. It was green. It's like really pretty. It's a little bit more synthetic feeling, I think, rather than like spongy. And it seems to allow the product to go a little bit longer. I don't know what it is. It just doesn't like absorb it as much as the Loving Tan mitt or any of the other mitts that I've used. I mean, the Loving Tan one is good. I use it all the time, but I had these and I don't know, it's very soft. So this is the one that I use. But I do use this for application for the rest of my body, which is perfectly fine, absolutely fine. But for those tricky areas like my hands, my elbows, my feet, my ankles, my face, I use a brush, not this one. I use a makeup brush, foundation brush. So the reason for this is because it just blends so much easier. It gives you, because you have a handle and everything, it gives you a lot more precision. This is the one that I used yesterday. It's a BH Cosmetics number 3 brush. So it's just a flat top foundation brush. I'm not gonna touch that because it's still got tanner on it. This is another option that is really, really good. This is by Stillazi. This is the Kabuki flat face brush. You wanna look for something that's going to be nice and blendable, but also dense. Dense is much better than if they're like a little bit too fluffy, and I'll explain that. This is another one. I think this is from like, I don't know, just some cheap retailer. So you can use the round ones. I use the round ones, I use the flat ones. I think I actually like prefer the round ones. This one is a little bit more fluffy, but it's still nice and densely packed. An example of what you don't want to use, this is the Morphe Y15 brush. So it looks a little bit similar to this. You can see the bristles are a little bit longer, but it's very floppy. Very floppy. And as soon as you put product on this, it's going to just like fall over. I have tried this before on my hands and it ends up giving it really streaky applications. So you want to make sure that you're using a dense, shorter bristled brush. Now, like I said, I don't go over the area, so I'm gonna show you like with this just as a, I'm just gonna show you as like a little example. So here's my elbow, right? So what I do is I will use the mitt for like the rest of my arm and then kind of like buff around that area, just staying away from it. And then with no additional product, I'll take whatever is left around my elbow and blend it into the area around my elbow. So you can see it doesn't look orange, like I just tanned last night. And that's exactly what I did. Just took whatever was left, blended around my elbow. That's it. It's very simple. It's very simple. You don't have to rush. Don't rush. Sometimes I rush and then that's when I turn orange. So you do not need to rush. It doesn't dry so fast that you can't like blend it all together. Like I said, you can just slap it on and it's not streaky at all. Then I just want to talk about like how I do my hands. Because that is probably the most difficult for me. So what I like to do is use the mitt and bring all of the product up to like here, this area, and then I'll blend into this area. So I'm really not going in with like way too much product because your hands are just so prone to getting orange. Then I take about a nickel sized amount, about a nickel, yeah, of product. So I'll place it right in the center of my hand, the brush right in the center of my hand, and then I'll start blending it downwards, down the wrist first. Then I will take whatever's left over once you've brought like enough down, and I will blend it out onto my fingers. And then you want to make sure that you kind of like claw your hands so that you're not creating white lines in your, like the wrinkles of your hands. And then you're going to kind of like buff around the edges, make sure you get in between, but don't bring it down too far. So you're going to buff around the edges like this. And then when it comes to the side of my hand, I do kind of the same thing, just buff around the edge. Make sure not to get that. I always get that. I always end up with an orange spot like right here. And just buff it like that. I really hope this makes sense because there is absolutely no way that I was going to be able to like film myself actually doing it. These lights are so hot, I would sweat and I would ruin it. Let's see, is there anything else that I need to talk about? So I think I've said it like a bunch of times, but I'm just saying it's so important and I do this all the time. I always feel like it's gonna dry so fast and I'm gonna ruin it and it's gonna end up streaky. I always think that even though I've never had that experience. Take your time, just like make sure that you're not going in with way too much product. If you go in with way too much, have a backup brush just in case. Foundation brushes are fantastic for application. I've seen people use large foundation brushes to do their whole body. I personally like the mitt. I just feel like, I don't know, that's too much work. But I feel very strongly about this and I've been wanting to make this video for a really long time because I just feel like the things that I just told you, no one says. Like no one really goes into depth about it and it took me so many bad experiences to figure it out. And then really quickly, I also want to mention how I remove my tan. So I typically wear it for about 5 days because I'm a psycho. As soon as it starts to fade off of my hands, I'm like, okay, I'm done with this. And then, like I said, I do use the black side of the mitt to do that. And what I do is I use Dove soap and I will just like get it wet in the shower, apply Dove soap everywhere and scrub it off that way. Otherwise it kind of like pulls on your skin if you don't like have something on it to help it out. And then to remove it from my face, I don't use the mitt because I think it's way too harsh. I use my Clarisonic Mia. Yeah. Use my little exfoliating brush. You can use the mitt on your face, but I would suggest using the pink side just because the black side can be really, really harsh. This is not a quick tip video, is it? All right, guys, I feel like that was so haphazard, but I think I got all the information in that I wanted to. There are so many tanning videos, how to tan videos on YouTube. So please don't just watch mine, watch a bunch of them so that you get like everybody's tips. But hopefully this did help you. Like I said, I can't stress enough. Take your time, just take your time. If you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to share and subscribe. You can follow me on Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter. I give you guys all the updates for videos that are coming. I also love asking your opinions about new packages, new PR packages that I get in, so you can kind of like see where it's going. You can vote, let me know what you want to see. All right, guys, again, thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I will see you in the next one. My video went up while I was talking. I didn't even get to watch it.